Hundreds of Nkanini informal settlement residents in Lwandle township in Cape Town face a bleak Easter weekend. This after a fire ripped through the informal settlement. Some residents say they managed to salvage some belongings while some lost everything. We've now roped in Gift of the Givers project manager Ali Sablay as we look at the aftermath. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Sablay. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first of all, can you walk us through how Gift of the Givers first, became aware of the fire in Strand, and what was your immediate response upon hearing about this incident? Just how quickly was your team able to mobilize and reach the affected areas?
Yesterday morning, around about 10 a.m., when our teams were busy preparing for humanitarian aid distribution at another fire site at the new informal settlement in Wellington, we received frantic calls from the community leaders, from the local councillor, from the fire victims itself, from businesses, informing us that a fire is ravaging through the Nkanini formal settlement in Strand. They pleaded with us, can we please come assist? We then activated a team to go do immediate assessments, and when our team got on site around about 11:30, the fire department was still busy trying to extinguish the blaze. Strong winds exacerbated the fire, and the fire was only managed to be contained, and the area was declared safe only around about 4:45. The immediate needs of the people were, when we got on site, people were informing us how hungry they are. Gift of the Givers teams immediately set up base, and we fed all the fire victims until the early hours of the morning.
So what kind of support did you initially provide to those who lost their homes? I mean, how are you coordinating relief efforts with the local authorities and other NGOs?
You must remember, for the last week and a half, Gift of the Givers have been extremely busy with fires. Last week and Sunday, we had a huge fire at the new informal settlement in Wellington, where close to 1,200 people were displaced. On the same day, we had a fire at the Joe Slovo informal settlement in Milnerton. 2 days later, we had a fire at the Bikeli informal settlement in Dunoon. And then we had a freak disaster at the Joe Slovo informal settlement in Langa, where a burst pipes flooded close to 300 homes. And then yesterday we had the one in Nkanini informal settlement in Strand. So simultaneously we are dealing with 5 disasters. Our teams are stretched all over, and the main concern when we get on site, due to the budget constraints of many departments in government at the moment, Gift of the Givers is playing a crucial role in terms of humanitarian aid. Our first immediate response when we get on site is to provide the affected victims, whether it's flood or fires, with immediate hot meals and water. The next day, which was today, we extended distribution at all sites where we provide blankets, personal hygiene item packs, baby care packs, mattresses, and with children going back to school, we provided them with new school uniform and stationery. The operation is ongoing. When we got on site this morning, we could see the people trying to still go through the rubble and see what they could salvage, but it was complete destruction. It was impossible for these community members to save anything. With that being said, we are appealing to the residents, please give the necessary municipality the chance to clear up the site. There is still live wires, there's raw sewage flowing, and there's drains blocked. With them building over these live wires and over blocked drains, we all know winter season is upon us, and when the rains come down, it will be double disaster for these people in informal settlements.
You just highlighted some of the challenges that you've encountered in delivering the aid, especially in an informal settlement setting. How then do you assess the most urgent needs in a disaster like this?
Going on to site, Gift of the Givers, doing this for the last 14 to 15 years in the Western Cape, we already know there's a pattern in terms of humanitarian aid that is required. The first thing we do know all the people's food items will be completely burnt out. This was a very sad case where residents have been informing us. There's some of them that are supposed to leave Thursday and Friday morning to the Eastern Cape, for the Easter festivities in their villages, etc. At the moment, all their stuff is burnt out, clothing, food items, etc. So we always know when we get on site, people will have to be fed for the next 5 to 7 days. We then prepare with that beforehand. We do know that unfortunately they do not sleep in community halls, they'll be sleeping with family and friends. They require mattresses and blankets. We have all their strategies in place. And our main concern when we get on site is what number of school children is being affected. Because the last thing you want to do is for a child in matric or any child in the schooling year is to be effectively they have no school clothing or school uniform.
Right.
That is some of the immediate assessments we fulfill.
Right, right. And how are you handling the logistics of accommodating such a large number of displaced people? I mean, when it comes to the community leaders and residents in your response efforts, and what kind of feedback then have you received from the people affected?
Community residents are appealing, especially to the elderly and to moms with young children. If please not stay on site, rather go stay with family members or friends, as it can be dangerous in many ways. For if these people sleep out in the open, we do know these elderly people on chronic medication, etc. They are being accommodated at family and friends, and when distribution takes place, we do send their packages to wherever they are located. We do know at the fire that happened in Wellington last week at the newest informal settlement, they were accommodated in community hall. We then to see to their basic needs on a daily basis, whether it's lunch, supper, or breakfast the next morning. But the main concern is for a more permanent solution to avoid this kind of situations. Because guaranteed, when we looked at the site where the fire was, it brought fresh memories to the memories were still fresh in our teams. It's the same place we responded to at the last year for the severe flood in the Western Cape had, and nothing has really changed. So it looks when the rainy season comes, our teams will be back on the same site because nothing has changed. There's no more proper drainage system. Water is just lying everywhere, and the paths were too narrow. This fire could have been long time tackled or extinguished by the fire department, but community members, because of the lack of space and accommodation available, they're building on top of each other. Hence the state of disaster we are seeing currently.
Yeah, just in closing, are there any plans for long-term assistance, to help these families rebuild their lives?
We do know National Department of Human Settlements was on site today. The City of Cape Town Disaster Risk Management teams, the City of Cape Town officials were there to clear up the site, etc. Human Settlements were there to register and to make available these building kits. But we will be there for the next 7 days to see to their basic needs in terms of hot meals, blankets, everything else, etc. But after 7 days, these people should be placed in a more permanent position with a roof over their head, because we can see the frustrations on the ground and we can see the hazardous situation they are currently exposed to.
All right, Mr. Sablay, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time. That was Gift of the Givers Project Manager Ali Sablay talking to us as we look at the aftermath of the Lwandle disaster.